The bullets screamed through the darkness. Daniel Carter didn't know whose blood splattered across his face, his own or the dog's. His knees hit the forest floor, pine needles biting through his jeans. Everything slowed the Malinois mid-leap. Jaws wide, 70 pounds of muscle between him and the man with the gun. Michael's voice somewhere behind him, raw with terror. "Dad!" The muzzle flash painted Rex's eyes gold for half a heartbeat. Then the impact. A sound like meat hitting concrete. Daniel's hands found fur, warm and wet. His vision tunneled. Not again. God, not again. Rex's tongue, pink, impossibly gentle, brushed his wrist once. Then nothing. 60 days ago, Daniel had come to Blue Ridge K9 training facility to watch this dog die. Now he was watching him take a bullet meant for him. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments along with the city you're watching. From now, let's continue with the story. Daniel Carter had stopped counting days somewhere around month 19. Time moved differently when you lived in a 32-foot trailer with rust eating through the wheel wells and a door that wouldn't lock without 3 good kicks. The envelope sat on his folding table. Next to the pill bottles, orange plastic sentinels guarding what was left of his sanity. Sertraline, Prazosin, Trazodone. The VA handed them out like candy, but they never asked if candy could bring back the dead. $847. That's what Uncle Sam decided a broken soldier was worth each month, minus $320 for the pills, minus $450 for the lot rent at Mountain View Mobile Home Park, which had a view of exactly one mountain if you stood on the propane tank and squinted past the highway. $77 for food, for everything else. The gun felt heavier than it should. Daniel had cleaned it that morning, muscle memory from a life that felt like someone else's. The Beretta M9 had been his sidearm in Kandahar. Now it sat loaded in his jacket pocket while he stared at the phone number written on a Post-it note. Catherine Morrison. He'd thrown the note away twice, fished it out of the trash both times. The phone rang 4 times before she answered. Her voice carried the soft edges of Carolina mountains, warm despite everything. "Daniel Carter, I wasn't sure you'd call." "Mrs. Morrison. Catherine, please." A pause. "You knew my husband?" Daniel's throat closed. "Thomas Morrison, staff sergeant, died pulling 3 men from a burning Humvee outside Kandahar. Daniel had been one of them." "I remember," he managed. "Then you understand about debts." Her voice wasn't unkind. "I run the Blue Ridge K9 training facility now. Been doing it since Thomas didn't come home. We have a dog that needs a value shown. Nobody here can reach him. He's hurt 4 people. They're voting to put him down in 2 weeks. I don't work with dogs anymore. I know what happened with Max. Thomas told me in his last letter." Daniel's hand tightened on the phone. Nobody was supposed to know about Max, about the choice he'd made in that dusty Afghan village with his partner bleeding out in 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. "I can't help you. Thomas saved your life. Daniel, I'm not asking you to save the dog. I'm asking you to tell me if he's worth saving. 14 days, that's all." The pills rattled when Daniel's hand shook. Through the trailer window, November rain hammered the aluminum roof. The Beretta pressed cold against his ribs. He thought about Thomas Morrison's last words before the medevac. "You make it count, Carter. You make it count. I'll come and look," Daniel heard himself say. "But I'm not promising Anything. That's all I'm asking." The line went dead. Daniel sat in the silence, rain drumming overhead, and wondered which of them was the lost cause, him or the dog. The drive to Blue Ridge took 2 hours through mountain roads that twisted like broken promises. Daniel's truck coughed black smoke at every incline, the check engine light a constant companion. He'd bought it for $800 from a guy who swore it just needed a little love. That was 3 years ago. The facility sat in a valley where the mountains created their own weather. Fog clung to the fence line, softening the edges of kennels arranged in neat rows. Daniel counted 18 runs before he stopped. The place smelled like wet dog and cedar chips and something else, fear, maybe, or memory. Catherine Morrison waited by the main building, 62 but carrying it well, silver hair pulled back in a braid that reached her shoulders. She wore Carhartt overalls and mud boots, no makeup, no pretense. "You look like hell," she said. "You look like Thomas." Her smile was sad. "He always said you were honest to a fault." She gestured toward the facility. "Come on, let's get this over with." 6 trainers worked the yard. Dogs of every breed, German shepherds, labs, a Rottweiler that looked like it ate barbells for breakfast. They all went quiet when Daniel passed. The trainers, too. Word traveled fast in small communities. "They know who you are," Catherine said. "Thomas talked about you, about what you did over there." "I didn't do anything worth talking about." "You came home. That's something." They walked past the main kennels to an isolated section at the back, chain link separated from the others by 20 feet of dead grass. A hand-painted sign read, "Quarantine." The kennel sat empty, except for one occupant, cage 7. Daniel saw the dog before Catherine said anything. Belgian Malinois, coat the color of burnt caramel, lean muscle wrapped tight over a frame that screamed military precision. Maybe 70 pounds, 5 years old, if Daniel had to guess. The dog sat perfectly still in the back corner, ears forward, eyes tracking every movement. But it was the eyes that stopped Daniel cold. Not rage, not madness. Resignation. "His name is Rex," Catherine said. "Been with us 8 months. Before that, 4 years active duty, Border Patrol, Texas sectors. His handler was Officer David Shaw. Good man. Died in a shootout near El Paso. October 20. Rex was there." Daniel moved her closer to the fence. The dog didn't move, didn't growl, just watched with those amber eyes that had seen too much. "Shaw took 3 bullets." Catherine continued. "Rex stayed with him for 14 hours before backup arrived. By the time they airlifted them out, Shaw was gone. Rex had a bullet graze across his ribs and dehydration so severe they didn't think he'd make it. But he did." "He did?" Catherine pulled a folder from under her arm. "Then came here for rehab and retrain. 6 weeks in, he attacked his first trainer, 32 stitches. 2 weeks later, attacked another, 16 stitches. Then a vet tech, then a volunteer." Daniel studied the dog. Rex hadn't moved an inch. What triggered him? That's the thing. No pattern, no warning, just switches flip. And he goes, "You called animal control. They said put him down. So did the county. So did everyone except me." Catherine's voice cracked. "But I keep thinking, what if Thomas had come back broken? Would I want someone to fight for him? Or just put a bullet in his head? Because it was easier." Daniel's hand drifted to his jacket pocket. The Beretta's weight anchored him to the present, to the choice he'd made 8 years ago in Afghanistan when Max was dying, and mercy looked like a trigger pull. "I need 3 days," Daniel said. "Alone with him. No cameras, no trainers, just me, Daniel. 3 days, or I walk." Catherine studied him for a long moment. "You know he's dangerous." "So am I." She handed him the keys. "Cage 7 is yours. Food's in the storage shed. Medical kit in the office. Phone on the wall if you need help." "I won't need help." Catherine turned to leave, then stopped. "Daniel, why did you really come here?" Daniel looked at Rex. The dog looked back. Two broken things recognizing each other across a chain-link divide. "Because Thomas asked me to make it count," Daniel said. "I'm still trying to figure out how." After Catherine left, Daniel sat down in the mud 20 feet from the cage. Rex's ears twitched forward. The dog's nostrils flared, reading the air, reading him. Daniel pulled the Beretta from his pocket and set it on the ground between them. "Here's the deal," he said quietly. "They're going to kill you in 14 days. Maybe that's mercy. Maybe that's murder. I don't know anymore." Rex's tail remained still, no wag, no tension, just existing in the space between living and dying. "I had a partner once," Daniel continued. "Max, German Shepherd. Best dog I ever knew. We did 2 tours together. Then Kandahar happened. IED took out our convoy. Max took shrapnel to the gut. Command said, 'Leave him.' I didn't listen." The words came easier than they had in 8 years. "I carried him 3 miles, found a medic, but there wasn't anything to do. Internal bleeding, too much damage. Max looked at me the same way you're looking at me now, like he understood, like he was waiting for me to be strong enough to let go." Daniel's voice broke. "I waited 30 seconds too long, 30 seconds where he suffered because I was too much of a coward to end it. When I finally pulled the trigger, I swore I'd never touch another dog again." Rex stood, not aggressive, just standing. He walked to the front of the cage, each step deliberate. Sat down 3 feet from the chain link, 3 feet from Daniel. They stared at each other across the divide. "You're waiting, too, aren't you?" Daniel whispered, waiting for someone to be strong enough. Rex's tail moved once, barely a twitch. Daniel picked up the gun. Rex didn't flinch. 14 days, Daniel said. "If I can't give you a reason to fight, I'll give you the mercy I gave Max. But if you fight, if you give me one reason to believe there's something worth saving, then we both fight. Deal." Rex's ears tilted forward. His head cocked slightly to the left. The scar behind his ear caught the fading light, a jagged K carved into the fur and skin. Someone had hurt this dog, deliberately, cruelly. Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in 2 years. Rage. "Yeah," he said softly. "We're going to figure out what happened to you, and someone's going to answer for it, Rex." Rex laid down, head on his paws, eyes never leaving Daniel's face. For the first time since Thomas Morrison died, since Max died, since everything that mattered died, Daniel Carter felt something like purpose, even if that purpose was just sitting in the mud with a broken dog in a forgotten corner of North Carolina, waiting to see which of them gave up first. Day 3 came with frost on the ground and Daniel's back screaming from sleeping in a folding chair outside cage 7. Rex had nightmares. Daniel knew because he had them too, the kind that jerked you awake at 3 in the morning with your heart trying to break through your ribs. Last night, Rex had started barking at 3:17 a.m. Not aggressive barking. Terror. The sound of something reliving the worst moment of its life on an endless loop. Daniel had moved his chair closer to the cage and started talking about Mac, about Thomas, about the time his convoy got lost in a sandstorm and they'd driven in circles for 6 hours convinced they were all going to die. Stupid stories, human stories. The kind that said, you're not alone in being broken. Rex had stopped barking, sat in the darkness with his ears forward, listening. Now, in the gray morning light, Daniel unwrapped the peanut butter sandwich he'd made, store brand, 4 days old. He'd been splitting his meals with Rex since day one, half for him, half for the dog. The kibble Catherine provided sat untouched in Rex's bowl. Daniel tore the sandwich in half and pushed it through the chain link. Rex stared at it, didn't move. It's just food, Daniel said. No tricks, no conditions. The dog's nose twitched. Belgian Malinois had 50 times the scent receptors of humans. Rex could probably smell the exact factory where they'd processed the peanuts. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then Rex stood, walked to the sandwich, and ate it in 3 bites. Daniel smiled despite himself. There you go. Buddy. He was eating his own half when the truck pulled up. Silver Ford F-150 too clean for someone who worked with their hands. Daniel recognized the haircut first, high and tight. Military standard, then the walk. Confident, purposeful, 19 years old, trying hard to look 25. His son, Michael Carter, stopped 15 feet away. Same green eyes Daniel saw in the mirror, same stubborn jaw that came from Daniel's father. The boy, man now wore a Blue Ridge K9 polo shirt and carried himself like someone who'd learned to be strong because his father hadn't been, "Hello, Dad." The word landed like a grenade. Daniel stood slowly, his back cracked. Michael. Mrs. Morrison called me, said you were here. Michael's voice was level, controlled. The way you talk to strangers at the DMP. She thought I should know. I didn't ask her to. I know what you're doing. Michael gestured at cage 7. I know about the evaluation, about the dog. Rex had moved to the back of the cage, body low, watching. Then you know I'm just doing a job, Daniel said carefully. That's the dog that attacked me. The world tilted. Daniel looked at Rex, at Michael, at the way his son's left hand unconsciously moved to his right forearm, where the sleeve covered something. What? Michael pulled up his sleeve. The scar ran from wrist to elbow, railroad tracks of pink tissue where someone had stitched him back together. 14 stitches. Catherine had said. Daniel counted them now. 6 months ago, Michael said. I was doing an internship here, summer before college, working with problem dogs, trying to figure out if I wanted to go into veterinary medicine. His laugh was bitter. That's the dog that helped me decide. That's Rex. Daniel's mouth went dry. You never told me. You weren't exactly available for a conversation. Dad, you were busy living in that trailer, not answering my calls, pretending your family stopped existing. That's not fair. Fair, Michael's voice cracked. You want to talk about fair? Mom had to sell the house. I'm paying for community college with student loans 'cause there's no money left. You get $800 a month to sit in the woods feeling sorry for yourself while the rest of us figure out how to survive." Daniel felt the familiar weight in his chest, the one that made breathing hard and thinking harder. "I know I failed you. You didn't fail me. You abandoned me," Michael pointed at Rex. "And now you're trying to save that animal. The one that put me in the emergency room, the one that made me terrified of dogs for 3 months," Rex growled, low and deep, the first aggressive sound Daniel had heard from him. "Michael, lower your voice." "Don't tell me what to do." Michael stepped forward. "You don't get to play dad now. You lost that right when you stopped coming home. When you stopped caring if I was alive or dead." Rex's growl intensified. His hackles rose. "Michael, back up, now. Why are you going to shoot me too like you shot your last dog?" The words hung in the air like gun smoke. Daniel stared at his son. "How do you know about that?" "Mom told me after the divorce, after you checked out completely. She said you killed your camping partner in Afghanistan. Said that's when you stopped being the man she married." Daniel's hand moved to his jacket pocket, empty. He'd left the Beretta in the truck this morning. Small mercy. Max was dying, Daniel said quietly. "I ended his suffering. That's not the same thing. You killed something you loved because it was easier than watching it hurt." Michael's eyes were wet now. "Just like you killed our family. Just like you're going to kill yourself eventually. Dad, we both know it. You think I don't recognize the look? You think I can't see what's in your eyes every time I force myself to check if you're still breathing?" Rex lunged at the fence. Chain link rattled. Daniel jumped between the cage and his son. "Hands up! Get back to your truck," Daniel said. "Now. You care more about that monster than you ever cared about me." The words hit harder than any bullet. Michael turned and walked to his truck. Before he climbed in, he pulled a folder from the passenger seat and threw it on the ground. "That's my formal complaint, filed 2 months ago. I'm requesting they euthanize Rex. I'm the victim. My testimony carries weight." He slammed the door. "You've got 14 days to decide what matters more, saving a dangerous animal or having any chance of a relationship with your son. Choose wisely." The truck kicked up gravel as Michael drove away. Daniel stood there until the dust settled. Then he picked up the folder. Official letterhead, County Animal Control, Michael Carter's signature at the bottom, requesting immediate destruction of one Belgian Malinois. Kennel designation Rex. Case number 24-447 due to unprovoked attack resulting in injury. Daniel turned to the cage. Rex sat in the corner, ears flat, tail tucked, not aggressive anymore. Ashamed, maybe, or just tired. "You hurt my son." "Key," Daniel said. Rex didn't move. "You put him in the hospital, 14 stitches. Probably gave him nightmares for months." Still nothing. Daniel crumpled the folder in his fist. "And now I have to decide if you're worth losing him over." He thought about Thomas Morrison, about debts paid and promises kept, about Max dying in his arms because Daniel had been too weak to be merciful sooner, about Michael's eyes, wet with the tears, saying words that couldn't be unsaid. Daniel sat down in the mud, put his head in his hands. "What am I supposed to do?" he whispered. Rex stood, walked to the front of the cage, sat down on the other side of the chain link 3 feet from Daniel, and very slowly, very deliberately, pushed his nose through the fence until it touched Daniel's hand. The first touch Rex had initiated. The first trust. Daniel looked up. Rex's eyes weren't resigned anymore. They were asking a question Daniel didn't know how to answer. "I don't know if I can save you," Daniel said. "I don't even know if I can save myself." Rex's tail moved. Once, like maybe that wasn't the answer he needed. Maybe the question wasn't about saving. Maybe it was about staying. Daniel closed his eyes and thought about the gun in his truck, about pills and trailers and all of the ways a man could disappear while still breathing. Then he thought about his son's face, about a dog who'd stayed with his dying handler for 14 hours, about Thomas Morrison pulling 3 men from a burning Humvee, about the difference between mercy and surrender. 11 days left, Daniel said. Let's see what we can do. Day 5 began with Daniel breaking his own rule. He opened the cage door, not to go in, not yet, just opened it 6 inches and sat down in the threshold with his back to Rex. Vulnerable, exposed, everything his military training screamed against. "Your move, quick," he said. For 2 hours. Nothing happened. Daniel sat and Rex stayed in his corner, and the morning sun climbed over the mountains. Daniel's legs went numb. His back seized up. He didn't move. At 10:47 a.m., Rex stood. Daniel heard the click of nails on concrete, felt the shift in air pressure. Every muscle in his body wanted to tense, to turn, to protect himself. He forced himself to stay loose. Rex's breath touched the back of Daniel's neck, warm, measuring. The dog could kill him right now. One bite to the carotid. Daniel had seen it happen. In Kandahar, insurgent dog took down a Marine in 4 seconds. Rex sniffed Daniel's collar, his hair, the spot behind his ear where old scars lived. Then the dog walked past him, out of the cage, into the yard. Daniel turned slowly. Rex stood 15 feet away, nose up, testing the wind, free for the first time in 8 months. "Don't run," Daniel said quietly. "If you run, they'll shoot you before sunset." Rex looked back at him, amber eyes catching the light. Then the dog walked back into the cage and lay down. Daniel's hands shook as he closed the door. That night, he finally told Rex about Max, the whole story. Kandahar province, 2018. We were clearing a village outside the city. Intel said Taliban had weapons cached in the mosque. Intel was wrong. It was an IED factory. Daniel sat with his back against the cage. Rex lay on the other side, close enough that Daniel could feel the warmth through chain link. Max hit the tripwire. I was 10 feet behind him. The blast threw me into a wall. When I got up, Max was on his side, trying to drag himself toward me with his front legs. His back legs didn't work anymore. There was blood everywhere. The words came easier in darkness. I called for medevac. They said 30 minutes. I knew Max didn't have 30 minutes. I could see his intestines, could see the way he looked at me, not scared, not angry, just waiting, trusting me to do what needed to be done. Rex's breathing had slowed, listening. I told myself I was being merciful, that I was ending his pain. But the truth, I couldn't watch him suffer. I couldn't sit with him in that agony for 30 seconds, let alone 30 minutes. So I put my service pistol to his head and I pulled the trigger because it was easier for me. Daniel's voice cracked. Max deserved better. He deserved someone strong enough to stay with him until the end, no matter how hard it was. Instead, he got me. Silence stretched between them. That's why I can't work with dogs anymore, Daniel whispered. Because every time I look at one, I see Max's eyes. I see my failure. Rex stood, walked onto the fence, pushed his entire face through the chain link until his muzzle rested against Daniel's shoulder. Daniel's hand moved before his brain could stop it. Touched the top of Rex's head. The dog didn't pull away. They sat like that until dawn. Day 6 brought the letter. Daniel found it tucked under his truck's wiper blade. Notebook paper, folded 3 times. Michael's handwriting. Dad, I shouldn't have said those things. Mom didn't tell me about Max to hurt you. She told me because she was worried I'd turn out like you, so broken I couldn't function. I use it as a weapon because I'm angry. I'm angry you weren't there for my high school graduation. I'm angry you missed my 18th birthday. I'm angry that the VA sends you pills but won't send you help. But mostly I'm angry because I miss you and I don't know how to say it. The dog scared me. He hurt me. But when I saw him yesterday, I didn't see a monster. I saw what you must see, something that's been through hell and doesn't know how to come back. Maybe you're right to try. Maybe that's what Thomas would want. Maybe that's what I want too. I withdrew the complaint this morning. Michael Daniel read it 3 times. His vision blurred halfway through the second reading. He found Catherine in her office, staring at a computer screen that showed 18 kennel cameras. Cage 7's feed was dark. Daniel had unplugged it day 1. Michael withdrew his complaint, Daniel said. Catherine nodded. I know. He called me this morning. Why? Because that boy loves you more than he knows how to say. She turned to face him. How's Rex? Better. Eating, sleeping without nightmares most nights. He let me touch him yesterday. And you? Daniel didn't answer. Catherine pulled out a file. There's something you should see about Rex's last posting. The incident report was thin, too thin. Officer David Shaw. Killed in the line of duty October 19, 2020. Gunfight with suspected cartel members near El Paso. Shaw took 3 rounds. Dead before paramedics arrived. Rex recovered at scene with minor injuries. This doesn't make sense, Daniel said. You told me Rex stayed with Shaw for 14 hours. That's what the initial report said. This is the final version. Notice anything missing. Daniel scanned the pages. There's no after-action review, no investigation file, no witness statements. Because they sealed it. Federal case, ongoing investigation, classified above my clearance level. Catherine tapped the folder. But I know people, and those people tell me the official story doesn't match what really happened that day. What are you saying? I'm saying Officer Shaw might not have been killed by cartel members. Catherine's voice dropped, and Rex might be the only witness to what actually happened. Daniel looked at the grainy photo attached to the report. David Shaw, mid-30s, good smile, standing next to Rex. Behind Shaw's left ear, barely visible in the photo, a small tattoo, the letter K. Daniel's blood went cold. The scar on Rex's head, he said slowly, behind his ear. Shaped like a K, Catherine finished. Someone tried to cut Shaw's identifying mark off the dog. Someone who wanted to erase any connection between them. Someone who killed Shaw and blamed it on cartel members? Catherine nodded. Rex didn't go crazy from trauma. He went crazy because he knows who killed his handler, and nobody would listen. Daniel stood. I need to make a phone call. 20 minutes later, he was on the line with Bobby Hernandez, a staff sergeant he'd served with in Afghanistan who now worked Border Patrol in Texas. David Shaw, Bobby said. Yeah, I remember. Good guy. Tragedy would have happened. Bobby, I need the truth, Jim. Off the record. Gillen's on the line. Then, what do you want to know? The official report says cartel members killed him. Is that true? Danny, if I tell you this and it gets out, it won't, I swear. Bobby exhaled. Shaw was investigating something. Corruption in the department. Someone running interference for the cartels. He was close to identifying who. Then he turned up dead in a firefight that nobody can quite explain. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong everything. His K9. Rex went ballistic after Shaw died. Attacked 4 people in 6 weeks. All of them law enforcement. All of them worked Shaw's sector. Daniel's grip tightened on the phone. Rex wasn't attacking random people. He was attacking the ones who smelled wrong. Exactly. Dog's nose probably picked up on something scent profile, stress hormones, guilt. Who knows? But after the 4th incident, they shipped Rex out, said he was too dangerous. Better to retrain him than investigate why he kept targeting cops. Who signed the transfer order? Sergeant Brett Jameson. He's working as a civilian trainer now. Last I heard, he was at some K9 facility in North Carolina. Daniel's heart stopped. Bobby, what did you say? Brett Jameson. Why? Daniel looked out the office window. Across the yard, a familiar figure was walking toward cage 7. Tall, sandy hair, easy smell, one of the trainers who'd been here since Daniel arrived. Brett Jameson, the man who'd transferred Rex. The man who was now working at the same facility as the dog who might know he'd killed David Shaw. I have to go, Daniel said. Danny, wait, if Jameson's dirty, he's dangerous. Don't. Daniel hung up. He ran. Brett was 20 feet from Rex's cage, carrying a bowl of food. Rex was on his feet, hackles raised, teeth bared, the most aggressive Daniel had seen him since day 1. Brett! Daniel shouted. Step away from the cage. Brett turned, smile still in place. Just bringing him dinner, Carter. Thought I'd give you a break. He doesn't need food. Back away. Brett's smile didn't falter, but something shifted in his eyes. You know, it's funny. I've been watching you two, making progress. Almost impressive. Almost like the dog trusts you. Brett. But here's the thing about dogs. Brett, set the bowl down. They remember. Even when you wish they'd forget. Rex launched himself at the fence. Chainlink screamed. Brett didn't flinch. Shaw was a good man. Brett said conversationally. Shame what happened to him. But sometimes good men get in the way of business. Sometimes they need to be removed. Daniel's hand moved to his pocket. The Beretta was there, had been since day 4. You killed him. I did what I had to do. And that dog, Brett gestured at Rex, that dog was there. Saw everything. Even tried to save Shaw. Bit my hand so deep I needed 18 stitches. He held up his left hand, thick scars across the palm. Had to cover it up. Said I got injured in training. The tattoo? You'd try to cut it off Rex. Shaw, was sentimental. Matching tattoos with his cane. Sweet. Stupid. I couldn't have people making that connection. So I tried to fix it. Dog wouldn't let me finish the job. Daniel's fingers wrapped around the gun. "You're not going to shoot me, Carter?" Brett's voice was calm. "Too many witnesses, too many cameras. All the cameras are off in this section." Brett's smile finally faded. "And there are no witnesses," Daniel continued, "because everyone else is at the main building for the 5 o'clock feeding." The two men stared at each other across 15 feet of dead grass. Rex threw himself against the fence again. Blood appeared on his gums where he'd bit the chain link. "Walk away," Daniel said quietly. "Leave North Carolina. Disappear. I won't follow." "Can't do that. Too many loose ends. The dog, you, that Morrison woman who won't stop asking questions." Brett pulled a knife from his belt. "I came here to finish what I started. Rex dies tonight. Tragic accident. Dog went crazy. Attacked me. I defended myself. You tried to stop me. Things got messy. 2 casualties. Clean ending." "There's no clean ending to murder." "Sure there is. You just have to commit to it." Brett moved. Daniel pulled the Beretta. Rex hit the cage door with 70 pounds of muscle and rage and 8 months of pent-up fury. The lock, old, rusted, barely holding, snapped. The cage door flew open. Rex was free, and he was done waiting for mercy. Rex hit Brett like a freight train. The knife clattered across concrete. Brett's scream cut through the evening air raw, primal, terrified. 70 pounds of Belgian Malinois drove him backward into the fence with enough force to rattle every panel in the section. "Rex off." Daniel's voice cracked with authority. The dog froze, jaws locked around Brett's forearm, not crushing, just holding, waiting for the next command. Brett's face had gone white. "Get him off me. Jesus Christ, get him off." "Shut up," Daniel said. The Beretta stayed level, pointed at Brett's chest. "Rex, release." Rex let go immediately and backed up 3 steps. Blood dripped from his muzzle. Brett's, not his. The dog's eyes never left his target. Every muscle coiled and ready. "Sit." Rex sat. Daniel kept the gun trained on Brett. "You're going to tell me everything. How you killed Shaw. Who else knows? Why you came here. Go to hell." "Rex, watch him." The growl that came from Rex's throat made Brett's bladder let go. The dark stains spread across his jeans. All right. Jesus." Brett cradled his bleeding arm. "Shaw figured out I was running interference for the Sinaloa cartel. Border crossings, scheduled patrol routes, evidence tampering. Made 200 grand over 3 years. Shaw got suspicious. Started in keeping his own logs. Was going to internal affairs. So you shot him during a legitimate raid, made it look like cartel retaliation. Would have been perfect except." Brett glared at Rex. "That animal went psychotic. Bit me. Wouldn't let go. I had to shoot at it twice before it backed off. By the time backup arrived, I'd already planted throwaway guns on the bodies. Clean scene, except for the K-9 who witnessed everything. Except for that." Brett's laugh was bitter. "I got Rex transferred. Figured they'd put him down within a month. Dog was too aggressive, too damaged. But then Morrison kept him alive. Kept asking questions. I had to volunteer here to monitor the situation. To make sure Rex died before anyone figured it out. To protect my investment. 3 other guys in the department are involved. Combined, We're looking at $20 million in cartel money over the next 5 years. I'm not throwing that away because of one dead cop and his mutt." Daniel's finger tightened on the trigger. Shaw had a daughter. What? David Shaw. He had a 16-year-old daughter. Emma, you made her an orphan. For the first time, something like shame flickered across Brett's face. Then it hardened again. Collateral damage. It happens. Not anymore. Footsteps behind him. Daniel didn't turn, didn't lower the gun, but his peripheral vision caught Catherine running toward them. Behind her, 2 sheriff's deputies. "Daniel!" Catherine shouted. "Don't call Sheriff Morrison," Daniel said calmly. "Tell him we need federal agents, Border Patrol, Internal Affairs. And tell him we have a confession to multiple murders." One of the deputies, young, nervous, had his hand on his service weapon. "Sir, put the gun down." "Not until you secure the suspect." Brett started laughing. "You think they're going to believe you, a washed-up vet with PTSD and a dangerous dog against a decorated law enforcement trainer? Good luck." The second deputy, older, moved forward with handcuffs. "Everyone stay calm. Carter, lower your weapon. We'll sort this out at the station." He killed Officer David Shaw in Texas, October 23. He just confessed. The dog was a witness. The dog. Brett's laugh grew louder. "You're going to use a dog as a witness. That's your evidence." "No," said a new voice. "I am." Michael stepped out from behind the equipment shed, in his hand, his cell phone, screen glowing. "I recorded everything, every word, full confession." The color drained from Brett's face. "I came to apologize to my dad," Michael continued, walking toward the group. "Found him confronting you. Stayed back and but hit record when you started talking about Shaw." He looked at Daniel. "Should have stepped in sooner. Sorry." Daniel's throat closed. "You did perfect, son." The older deputy took the phone, reviewed the recording. His expression shifted from skepticism to grim satisfaction. "Brett Jameson, you're under arrest for the murder of Officer David Shaw. You have the right to remain silent. That recording is inadmissible." As Brett struggled as they cuffed him. "Illegal surveillance. He didn't have permission. North Carolina's a one-party consent state." The deputy said, "Recording's perfectly legal." They dragged Brett toward the patrol car. He twisted back, eyes wild. "This isn't over. You have no idea who you're dealing with. The people I work for, they'll come for you. For all of you. You're dead. Carter, you and your son and that dog." The deputy shoved him into the back seat and slammed the door, cutting off the threats. Silence fell over the yard. Daniel finally lowered the Beretta. His hands were shaking so hard he nearly dropped it. Catherine took it from him gently. "It's over." "It's not over." Daniel looked at Rex, still sitting at attention, still watching the patrol car. "There are 3 more people involved. Brett said so. They're still out there." "Border Patrol will handle it," the older deputy said. "Federal case now. You did your part." Michael stepped beside his father. "You okay?" Daniel couldn't answer. 8 years of PTSD, of carrying Max's death, of failing everyone he'd ever loved, it all crashed down at once. His knees buckled. Michael caught him. "I got you, Dad. I got you." Father and son sank to the ground together. Daniel's shoulders shook with silent sobs he'd been holding back since Kandahar. Rex moved forward slowly, placed his head on Daniel's knee. The 3 of them sat there as the sun set over the Blue Ridge Mountains and the patrol car, carrying a murderer, disappeared down the access road. "He protected you," Michael said quietly. "Rex, he could have killed Brett, but he stopped when you told him to." "He's a good dog. He's your dog now." Michael scratched behind Rex's ears, careful of the K-shaped scar. "You saved each other." Daniel looked at his son, really looked at him, 19 years old, scared but standing strong, holding his broken father together. "When did you grow up? When I had to—" Michael's smile was sad. Someone had to be the adult. "I'm sorry. For everything. For leaving. For—" "I know." Michael squeezed his father's shoulder. "We'll figure it out. Together." Catherine approached with water bottles and a first aid kit. "Rex needs his paws checked. That chain link cut him up when he broke through." Daniel forced himself to stand. His legs felt like water, but he moved to Rex and knelt. "Let me see. Buddy." Rex lifted his right front paw, 3 deep cuts across the pad, still bleeding. "This is gonna hurt," Daniel warned. He cleaned the wounds with antiseptic. Rex didn't move, didn't whimper, just watched Daniel's face with those amber eyes that had seen too much and somehow still held trust. "You did good," Daniel whispered. "Shaw would be proud." Rex's tail wagged once. Michael knelt beside them. "Can I help?" Daniel handed him the gauze. "Wrap it tight, but not too tight. Has to be able to flex." They worked together, father and son, bandaging a dog who'd saved them both in different ways. The sun dropped below the mountains, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. "The council's meeting is in 48 hours, Catherine said. "They still need to vote on Rex's future. He just stopped a murder confession and protected civilians." Michael said, "If that doesn't prove he's not dangerous, he's still technically a liability." Catherine interrupted gently. 4 prior attacks on record. Tonight might help, but it might not be enough." Daniel finished tying off the bandage. "Then we'll make it enough. We'll show them what I see. Not a monster, not a failure. A dog who was protecting his handler's memory the only way he knew how." Daniel stood. "We need to contact Shaw's family, his daughter. She deserves to know what happened, who her father really was." "I'll make the calls," Catherine said. Michael helped gather the medical supplies. "Dad, where are you staying tonight?" "The trailer? That's 2 hours away. So stay at my apartment. It's 15 minutes from here." Michael's voice was careful, offering without pushing. "Couch pulls out. Rex can sleep on the floor. We can grab breakfast in the morning before the interviews start." Daniel looked at his son, at the olive branch being extended, at the second chance he didn't deserve but desperately needed. "Okay," he said. "Yeah, that'd be good." Rex stood, tested his bandaged paw, and limped over to stand between them. The 3 of them walked to Michael's truck as stars began appearing overhead. Behind them, Cage 7 sat empty. Door still hanging open. Lock broken. Rex would never go back in that cage. None of them would go back to what they'd been before. Catherine watched them drive away, then pulled out her phone and dialed a number she'd been saving for 8 months. "Border Patrol Internal Affairs?" "Yes, this is Catherine Morrison from Blue Ridge K-9 Training. I have information about Officer David Shaw's death, and I have the K-9 who witnessed it." "Yes?" "Rex. He's ready to testify." She paused, listening. "No, I'm not joking. The dog just took down the man who killed his handler. and we have it all on tape. Michael's apartment was smaller than Daniel's trailer, but felt like a mansion. Clean dishes in the rack, books on shelves, photographs on the wall, high school graduation, Michael's mother smiling, a faded picture of Daniel in uniform holding infant Michael. Daniel stopped in front of that last photo. He looked so young, so sure of himself. "I kept it," Michael said from the kitchen, "even when I was angry. Couldn't bring myself to throw it away." Rex limped through the apartment, sniffing corners, checking windows, assessing threats. Old habits from years of tactical work. "There's leftover chicken in the fridge," Michael said. "Rex probably needs real food after 8 months of kibble." They fed the dog together, then sat on opposite ends of the worn couch with Rex sprawled between them. The TV stayed off. The silence felt comfortable for the first time in years. "Mom asks about you," Michael said eventually. Daniel's chest tightened. "How is she?" "Happy. Dating a dentist named Paul. He's nice. Boring, but nice." Michael pulled at a thread on his jeans. "She doesn't hate you, Dad. She's just tired." "I don't blame her. She wanted me to tell you if I ever saw you again that she's sorry too, for the things she said during the divorce, about Max, about you being broken." Daniel's hand found Rex's fur. The dog's breathing had slowed. Peaceful. She wasn't wrong. "Yeah, but broken doesn't mean worthless. I'm learning that." Michael gestured at Rex. "He taught me, watching you with him these past few days. You didn't try to fix him. You just sat with him in the broken places until they didn't hurt as much." "That's all I know how to do." "It's enough." They sat in comfortable silence until Michael's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression darkened. "It's Mrs. Morrison. The Border Patrol agents want to interview you and Rex tomorrow morning at 6. "And Dad," Michael looked up, "they want to use Rex to identify the other 3 people involved in Shaw's murder. How? Scent identification lineup. They'll bring in suspects. See if Rex reacts the same way he did with Brett." Daniel's hand stilled on Rex's head. "That's asking a lot of him." They said it's voluntary. "But if Rex can identify Shaw's killers, it would close a federal investigation that's been stalled for over a year." Daniel looked down at the dog. Rex's eyes were open now, watching him, waiting. "We'll do it," Daniel said, "but on our terms. No case, no restraints. Rex works free or he doesn't work at all." Michael texted back, then set his phone down. "Dad, why did you really come to Blue Ridge the truth?" Daniel took a long breath. "Because the night Catherine called, I was planning to end it. Had the pills lined up on the table, had the gun loaded, was writing a note to you that I'd never be brave enough to send." Michael's face went pale. Then Catherine said Thomas's name, and I remembered something he told me in Kandahar. We were pinned down, thought we were going to die, and Thomas looked at me and said, "If I don't make it home, promise me you'll make it count. Promise me you'll live for something worth dying for." Daniel's voice cracked. "I haven't kept that promise. I've been dying slowly for 8 years. But when I saw Rex, when I looked in his eyes and saw my own reflection, I thought maybe there was still time. Maybe I could make it count by helping something as broken as me." "Did it work?" Daniel looked at his son, at the apartment they were sitting in, at the dog sleeping between them, at the fact that he was still breathing, still fighting, still here. "I think so," he whispered. "Yeah, I think it did. Michael's eyes were wet. I'm glad you're still here. Dad? Me too, son. Me too. They didn't talk after that, just sat together with Rex between them until exhaustion pulled them into sleep. Daniel on the pull-out couch, Michael in his bedroom, Rex on the floor with his head on Daniel's hand. For the first time in 8 years, Daniel slept without nightmares. Morning came too fast. The Border Patrol field office in Asheville occupied a nondescript building that could have been an insurance company or a tax firm. Nothing about it screamed federal law enforcement except the armed guards at the entrance. Agent Sarah Martinez met them in the lobby, mid-40s, sharp eyes, handshake like a vice grip. "Mr. Carter, you must be Rex." And Rex sat at Daniel's heel, alert but calm. The bandage on his paw had been changed that morning. He barely limped now. "The other agents are setting up in Conference Room B," Martinez said, as she led them through security. "We have 5 individuals for the lineup. 3 are suspects in Shaw's murder. 2 are clean controls. We need to see if Rex can identify which 3. How?" Michael asked. Dogs process scent memory differently than visual memory. Rex spent months working alongside Shaw. He would have memorized the scent profiles of regular contacts, other officers, trainers, civilians in Shaw's life, but he also would have memorized the scent of anyone who triggered his protective instincts. They entered a long hallway with 5 doors, each leading to separate interview rooms. "Behind each door is one person," Martinez explained. "Rex will approach each door in sequence. We'll monitor his reaction through cameras. If he identifies a suspect, we'll have probable cause for deeper investigation." Daniel looked down at Rex. "This is your call, buddy. You don't have to do this." Rex's tail wagged once. They started with door 1. Rex approached slowly, nose working. He sniffed the gap at the bottom of the door into processing thousands of scent molecules invisible to human perception. After 10 seconds, he sat and looked back at Daniel. Neutral reaction. "That's Officer Paula Chen," Martinez said. "Clean record, never worked Shaw's sector. Control subject." Door 2 produced the same response. Neutral. Door 3 was different. Rex's hackles rose the moment they approached. His ears flattened. A low growl built in his chest. "Easy," Daniel murmured. "Just tell us. That's all." Rex lunged at the door, not attacking, but alerting the way K9 signaled during narcotic searches. Aggressive, focused, certain. "That's Sergeant James Cooper," Martinez said quietly. "Worked Shaw's sector. Under investigation for financial irregularities." Door 4 neutral. Door 5, Rex went ballistic. He barked, snapped at the door, tried to dig underneath it. Every muscle in his body screamed threat, danger, enemy. "Lieutenant Marcus Webb," Martinez said. "Shaw's direct supervisor." He signed off on the incident report that buried the investigation. Daniel pulled Rex back gently. "Good boy. You did good." Rex was shaking, adrenaline flooding his system. Daniel knelt and held the dog until the tremors subsided. Martinez checked her tablet. 3 hits, 2 suspects we already had eyes on, and 1, she paused at door 3, that we didn't know about. Cooper wasn't even on our radar. "What happens now?" Michael asked. "Now we get warrants, financial records, communications, surveillance footage. If these 3 are dirty, we'll prove it." Martinez knelt in front of Rex. This dog just broke open a federal case. Shaw would be proud. They left the building an hour later after giving official statements. Rex was exhausted, limping again, emotionally drained from confronting the sense of men who'd destroyed his world. In the parking lot, an unfamiliar car waited, silver sedan, Tennessee plates. A woman stood beside it, late 30s, dark hair pulled back, wearing jeans and a University of Tennessee sweatshirt. She looked like David Shaw, same nose, same determined jaw. Mr. Carter. Her voice was soft but steady. I'm Emma Shaw, David Shaw's sister. Daniel's world tilted. His daughter is 16, still in school in El Paso. I'm her guardian now? Emma's eyes found Rex. Is that him? Is that my brother's K9? Rex's tail started wagging, slowly at first, then faster. He pulled toward Emma with a whine Daniel had never heard, not aggressive, not fearful, longing. Emma dropped to her knees. Rex crashed into her, licking her face, his whole body wiggling with recognition and joy and grief, all mixed together. He remembers me, Emma sobbed. Oh, God, he remembers. You knew Rex. David brought him to family dinners every Sunday. Rex was part of the family. Emma buried her face in Rex's fur. After David died, they wouldn't let me see him. Said Rex was federal property. Said he was too dangerous. But I knew he wasn't dangerous. He was just heartbroken. Michael and Daniel exchanged glances. Emma pulled back, wiping her eyes. Mrs. Morrison called me last night, told me everything about Brett, about what you did. And she looked at Daniel. David wrote about you in his journal. What? He kept detailed notes on his investigation, the corruption, the officers involved. He didn't trust digital files, so he wrote everything by hand. I found the journal after he died, but didn't understand what it meant. She reached into her car and pulled out a leather notebook. Until now. She handed it to Daniel. Inside, Shaw's handwriting documented the 3 years of surveillance. Names, dates, money transfers, photos of Brett Jameson meeting with known cartel members. This is evidence, Daniel said. It's more than evidence. It's proof my brother died a hero, not a casualty of gang violence. Emma's voice hardened. The people who killed him tried to erase that, tried to make it look random. But David was too careful. He left a trail. Why give this to me? Because Mrs. Morrison said, you're the only one who believed in Rex when everyone else had given up. David would have wanted his can to be with someone like that. Emma knelt again, holding Rex's face in both hands. You take care of him, okay? He's all I have left of my brother. Rex licked her face one more time. I promise, Daniel said. Emma stood, composed herself. There's a hearing tomorrow. The county council is voting on Rex's future. I'll be there to testify. So will Agent Martinez. So will everyone David ever trusted. She met Daniel's eyes. Rex saved your life yesterday. Now we're going to save his. She drove away, leaving them standing in the parking lot with a notebook full of evidence and a dog who'd just been given a piece of his past back. Dad, Michael's voice was quiet. What happens if the council still votes to put Rex down? Daniel looked at the dog, at the bandaged paw, at the scar behind his ear where someone had tried to erase his identity, at the amber eyes that had seen murder and trauma and betrayal but somehow still held trust. "Then we fight," Daniel said. "However long it takes, whatever it costs, we fight." Rex leaned against his leg. Together, they headed home. The council hearing was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon, but by noon, the Blue Ridge facility parking lot was packed. News vans, reporters, protesters holding signs that read, "Save Rex" and "Justice for K-9 Heroes." Someone had leaked the story, and it had gone viral overnight. Daniel sat in Michael's truck with Rex in the back seat, watching the circus unfold. "This is insane," Michael said. Catherine appeared at the driver's window, looking harried. Border Patrol just arrived. So did 3 lawyers from an animal rights organization I've never heard of, and somehow a CNN crew found out about the hearing. She rubbed her temples. This was supposed to be a quiet council vote. "Nothing about this is quiet anymore," Daniel said. Inside, the main conference room had been rearranged to accommodate the crowd. 7 council members sat at a long table at the front. Behind them, a projector screen showed Rex's case file. To the side, a court reporter prepared to document everything. Daniel took a seat in the front row with Michael on one side and Catherine on the other. Rex lay at his feet, calm despite the chaos. They'd worked on public settings all morning: coffee shops, parks, busy streets. Rex had passed every test. Council Chairman Howard Mitchell called the meeting to order. 70 years old. Former Marine, no-nonsense expression. "This is a hearing to determine the fate of one Belgian Malinois. Kennel designation Rex, case number 42447. The dog has been deemed a public safety risk following 4 documented attacks. However, recent events have complicated the situation, so we'll hear testimony from all relevant parties before voting." He gestured to the first witness. "Agent Sarah Martinez, Border Patrol Internal Affairs." And Martinez approached the podium with a folder thick enough to choke a horse. "Chairman Mitchell, council members, I'm here to provide context about Rex's behavior that wasn't available during previous evaluations." She clicked a remote. The screen changed to show David Shaw's service photo. Officer David Shaw was murdered on October 6 while investigating corruption within the Border Patrol. His K-9 Rex was the sole witness. The official report attributed Shaw's death to cartel violence. That report was falsified. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Yesterday, Brett Jameson, a trainer at this facility and former Border Patrol sergeant, confessed to murdering Officer Shaw. He also confessed to torturing Rex in an attempt to eliminate the only witness. The 4 attacks attributed to Rex. All 4 victims were connected to Shaw's murder investigation. Rex wasn't being aggressive. He was identifying suspects. The room erupted. Chairman Mitchell banged his gavel. "Order Agent Martinez. Are you saying this dog was conducting his own investigation?" "I'm saying this dog never forgot who killed his handler. Every person he attacked carried scent markers that triggered his protective instincts. In K-9 terminology, Rex was doing his job. He was protecting his pack from threats." Martinez clicked to the next slide footage from yesterday's scent lineup. Rex successfully identified 3 suspects in Shaw's murder. All 3 are now under federal investigation. Without Rex's testimony, this case would still be cold. Councilmember Patricia Delgado raised her hand. "Agent Martinez, with respect, dogs can't testify in court. This is compelling, but it's not evidence." "Actually, it is." Martinez pulled out a document. Federal law recognizes K-9 alerts as probable cause in narcotics and explosives cases. Rex's identification of suspects gave us grounds for search warrants that have already yielded results. We found financial records linking all three suspects to cartel payments. Rex's nose didn't lie. Chairman Mitchell leaned forward. So, you're asking us to believe this dog is a hero, not a menace. I'm asking you to see him for what he is, a traumatized war veteran who never stopped serving, even after everyone gave up on him. Martinez stepped down. Emma Shaw was called next. She walked to the podium carrying a framed photo of David Shaw and Rex together. My brother loved this dog more than anything except his daughter. When David died, Rex was all we had left of him. They wouldn't let us see him, said he was too dangerous. Her voice broke. But David's journal, the one that's now federal evidence, has an entry from 2 weeks before he died. It says, "If anything happens to me, make sure Rex goes to someone who understands loyalty. He deserves better than a cage." She set the photo on the podium. Rex has been in a cage for 8 months because we failed him. Because we didn't listen, because we assumed broken meant worthless. Emma looked directly at Daniel. Then Mr. Carter showed up. He didn't try to fix Rex. He just sat with him, listened to him, believed in him, and Rex responded by saving his life and solving my brother's murder. Emma's hands gripped the podium. If you vote to destroy Rex today, you're saying that trauma is a death sentence. You're saying that anyone who's been hurt too badly doesn't deserve a second chance. Is that really the message you want to send? Silence. Emma returned to her seat. Chairman Mitchell called Daniel next. Daniel stood slowly. Public speaking had never been his strength. The eyes of 100 strangers felt like crosshairs. "I'm not good at speeches," he started. "I'm a vet with PTSD who lives in a trailer and takes pills to get through the day. 8 months ago, I was planning to kill myself." Gasps from the audience. Then Catherine Morrison called and asked me to evaluate a dog everyone said was beyond saving. I almost said no, but I owed her husband a debt, so I showed up. Daniel looked down at Rex. I expected to see a monster. Instead, I saw myself. His voice steadied. It wasn't aggressive. He was protecting the only thing he had left, the truth about what happened to Officer Shaw. Every person he attacked was connected to that truth. He was doing his job the only way he knew how. Daniel pulled a paper from his pocket. Michael's letter from days ago. My son wrote something that stuck with me. He said, "Maybe you're right to try. Maybe that's what Thomas would want." He looked at Michael. "Thomas Morrison saved my life in Afghanistan. Rex saved it again last week, and in the process of saving him, I found a reason to keep living." He addressed the council directly. "You're voting on whether Rex deserves to live. But what you're really deciding is whether second chances matter, whether someone who's been broken by circumstances beyond their control deserves the opportunity to heal." Daniel's hand trembled. "I've worked with Rex for 11 days. In that time, he's learned to trust again, to eat, to sleep without nightmares, to accept touch. Yesterday, when Brett Jameson tried to kill me, Rex could have torn him apart. Instead, he stopped when I told him to. That's not a dangerous dog. That's a trained professional doing his job. He pulled out the final piece of paper the certificate from this morning. 3 hours ago, Rex passed the Canine Good Citizen test with perfect scores. He's certified for therapy work. Multiple veterans organizations have requested him for PTSD programs. Rex isn't a threat. He's a resource. Daniel stepped back. Vote however you want. But know this, if you destroy Rex, you destroy the only witness to a federal murder case. You destroy a dog who spent his life serving this country, and you destroy the only thing keeping a broken vet like me from giving up. He sat down. The room was silent, except for the sound of someone crying in the back. Chairman Mitchell looked at his fellow council members. Any questions for Mr. Carter? Council member Robert Hayes spoke up. Mr. Carter, if we allow Rex to live, what happens to him? He comes home with me. To a trailer, to wherever I am. Rex and I are a package deal now. Hayes nodded slowly. What about the other victims? The people Rex attacked. Don't they deserve consideration? Emma Shaw stood. I reached out to all 4. 2 have agreed to drop their complaints after learning the context. The other 2 have been arrested as part of the federal investigation into my brother's murder. The room erupted again. Chairman Mitchell banged the gavel repeatedly. Order! We need order! He wiped his forehead. This is the most complicated case I've handled in 20 years on this council. Catherine stood. Chairman Mitchell, if I may. Mrs. Morrison. Rex came to my facility 8 months ago as a last resort. Everyone else had given up on him. I kept him alive because my husband taught me that service members, human or canine, deserve our best effort, not our convenience. Her voice rang clear. Thomas died pulling 3 men from a burning vehicle. He didn't ask if they deserved to be saved. He didn't weigh the risks versus the benefits. He just acted because that's what heroes do. She gestured to Rex. That dog did the same thing. He stayed with Officer Shaw for 14 hours. Even though he was injured and terrified, he protected the truth about Shaw's murder for 8 months, even though it cost him everything. He saved Daniel Carter's life, even though he'd been hurt by humans over and over. Catherine's eyes were bright. If we can't find the courage to save him, what does that say about us? The room fell silent. Chairman Mitchell looked at his council. We'll deliberate for 15 minutes, then vote. The council filed into a back room. The crowd dissolved into anxious whispers. Daniel felt Michael's hand on his shoulder. You did everything you could, Dad. It might not be enough. It's enough that you tried. Rex rested his head on Daniel's knee. The dog seemed calm, almost resigned, like he'd been through this before, like he knew how these things ended. The 15 minutes felt like 15 hours. When the council returned, Chairman Mitchell's expression was unreadable. We've reached a decision. This vote was not unanimous. However, the majority has ruled. Daniel's heart stopped. In the matter of Belgian Malinois designated Rex. Case number K407, this council votes 4-3 to grant a conditional pardon. The room exploded in cheers. Conditional! Mitchell repeated loudly. Rex will be released into Mr. Carter's custody with the following requirements. Mandatory therapy certification within 60 days, quarterly behavioral evaluations, and immediate reporting of any incidents. If Rex fails any evaluation or shows aggression, this case will be reopened. He looked directly at Daniel. "Mr. Carter, this dog's life is now your responsibility. Don't make us regret this decision." "I won't, sir." "Then this hearing is adjourned." The gavel fell. People rushed forward, reporters shouting questions, strangers wanting to pet Rex, lawyers distributing cards. Daniel grabbed Rex's collar and pushed through the crowd with Michael clearing a path. Outside, the November sun broke through clouds. Daniel knelt in the grass and hugged Rex properly for the first time. The dog's tail wagged so hard his entire body shook. "You're free," Daniel whispered. "You're finally free?" Emma Shaw appeared beside them, crying and laughing at the same time. "David would be so happy. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up." Catherine joined them, along with Agent Martinez and a dozen others whose lives had been touched by one broken dog and one broken man who refused to quit. Michael took a photo on his phone, Daniel and Rex silhouetted against the mountains, both of them finally looking like they belonged somewhere. "Come on," Michael said. "Let's go home." They walked to the truck together, leaving the circus behind. Rex jumped into the back seat like he had done it 1,000 times, like he knew this was where he belonged now. As they drove away from Blue Ridge, Daniel's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Emma. David's daughter wants to meet Rex. Can we visit next month?" Daniel showed Michael. "What do you think?" "I think Rex would like that." Daniel typed back, "Any time. He's family." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Thank you for giving me my uncle back." Daniel's throat closed. He reached back and touched Rex's head. The dog licked his hand. "Hey, Dad," Michael said as they turned onto the highway. "What now?" Daniel looked at his son, at the dog, at the mountains rolling past, at the sky that seemed bigger than it had in years. "Now we live," he said, "for the people who can't anymore, for Thomas and Shaw and Max. We make it count, however we can." Rex barked, once sharp, joyful, alive, and for the first time in 8 years, Daniel Carter laughed. The emergency call came at 11:47 p.m. 3 days after the hearing, Daniel was asleep on Michael's couch. When his phone exploded with noise, Rex jumped to his feet instantly, ears forward, body tense. "Carter!" Daniel's voice was rough with sleep. "It's Martinez." The agent's words came fast. "We have a situation. Lieutenant Webb barricaded himself in his house with his wife and 2 kids. SWAT is on scene. But he's demanding to talk to you. Says if you don't show up in 30 minutes, people die." Daniel was on his feet, pulling on boots. "Why me?" "Because you're the one who brought Rex to the lineup. You're the one who exposed him. He blames you for everything falling apart." "Where?" Martinez gave him an address in West Asheville. 20 minutes away. Michael appeared in the doorway, already dressed. "I heard. I'm coming with you." "No." "Dad, I'm coming. Don't argue." They were in the truck in 90 seconds. Rex sat in the back, alert and focused. He could sense the tension radiating from both humans. The drive took 16 minutes. Daniel ran 2 red lights and hit 70 on a residential street. The scene looked like a movie set. Police vehicles blocking both ends of the street. SWAT team in position. Neighbors evacuated. Floodlights turned night into artificial day. Martinez met them at the perimeter. "Webb fired 3 shots 20 minutes ago. No one hit, but he's escalating. He says he'll only negotiate if you come to the door with Rex. He wants to shoot the dog. Probably. Martinez handed Daniel a vest. You don't have to do this. We can wait him out. How long before someone gets hurt? Honestly, could be 5 minutes. Could be 5 hours. Daniel looked at Rex. The dog stared back, steady and calm. We've been through worse. Right, buddy? Rex's tail wagged once. I'm going in. Mr. Carter, that man is desperate. Desperate people need to see someone who understands. Daniel clipped a lead to Rex's collar. I understand desperation. Martinez opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. Okay, but you wear a wire and you follow our protocol. At the first sign of violence, you drop and our team moves in. They fitted Daniel with a microphone and a camera. Michael gripped his father's shoulder. Come back, Dad, both of you. We will. Daniel and Rex walked up the empty street. Every window in Webb's house was dark except one, the living room, where shadows moved behind curtains. Daniel stopped at the front porch. Lieutenant Webb, it's Daniel Carter. I'm here like you asked. It's just me and Rex. Silence. Then the door cracked open. Marcus Webb stood in the gap, backlit by a single lamp, mid-50s, graying hair, eyes that had seen better days. He held a pistol loosely at his side. You brought the dog. You asked for him. Webb's hand tightened on the gun. That animal destroyed my life. Everything I built. 23 years on the force, gone because of a mutt. Rex didn't destroy your life. You did that when you helped kill David Shaw. I didn't pull the trigger. But you covered it up. You falsified reports. You let Shaw's family believe he did fighting criminals instead of murdered by his own people. Daniel's voice stayed level. You betrayed everything the badge stands for. Webb's gun rose slightly. You don't understand the pressure. The cartels were threatening our families. They had names, addresses, photos of our kids. Brett said if we cooperated, everyone would be safe. If we didn't... So you let them kill Shaw? Shaw wouldn't listen. Webb's voice cracked. He was going to expose all of us. My daughter was starting college. My wife had just beaten cancer. I couldn't let them be targets. So you made Shaw the target instead. Webb sagged against the doorframe. I never meant for it to go that far. I just gave Brett Shaw's patrol schedule. I didn't know he was going to... He stopped. After it happened, I couldn't take it back. Could only try to bury it. Until Rex wouldn't let you. Webb stared at the dog. That animal attacked me in a parking lot 6 months ago. Came out of nowhere. I thought it was rabid. But it wasn't, was it? It knew what I'd done. Dogs don't forget betrayal. Neither do I. Webb raised the gun, pointing it at Rex. Your dog took everything from me. Seems only fair. Daniel stepped between them. You want to shoot something? Shoot me, Dad. Michael's voice crackled through the wire. Get out of the way. Carter, no. Daniel spread his arms. You want vengeance. Here I am, the man who brought Rex to that lineup, the man who told Martinez about Shaw's journal. I'm the one who burned your life down. Webb's hand shook. Move. I won't let you hurt him. He's just a dog. He's more than that. Daniel's voice dropped. He's loyal. He's brave. He's everything you stopped being when you chose money over honor. Daniel took a step forward. You want to know the difference between you and Rex? He stayed with Shaw for 14 hours while his handler bled out. He could have run, could have saved himself, but he stayed because that's what loyalty looks like. Tears streamed down Webb's face. I had a family to protect. So did Shaw. His daughter lost her father because you were too scared to do the right thing. I can't go to prison. I can't. You don't have a choice anymore. The only choice left is how you face it, as a coward who shoots a dog or as a man who finally tells the truth. Webb's gun wavered. Behind Daniel, Rex growled softly, not aggressive, protective, warning. Your family is inside, Daniel said gently. Your wife, your kids. You want the last thing they see to be you murdering an animal in cold blood? You want that to be their final memory of you. The gun lowered an inch, then another. I'm so tired, Webb whispered. I know. Me too. Daniel extended his hand. Give me the gun, Marcus. Let's end this right. For a long moment nothing moved. The street held its breath. Then Webb's hand opened. The pistol clattered to the porch. SWAT moved in instantly. Webb went down in a controlled tackle, hands zip-tied behind his back. His wife and children emerged from the house, crying, but safe. Daniel sank to his knees, shaking. Rex pressed against him, solid and warm and alive. Martinez appeared, pulling Daniel to his feet. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen. Probably both. Michael ran up and grabbed his father in a hug that squeezed the breath from Daniel's lungs. Don't ever do that again. Can't promise that. They watched paramedics check Webb's family. The wife looked at Daniel, mouthed thank you, then climbed into an ambulance. Webb was loaded into a patrol car. Before the door closed, he looked at Rex. Tell Shaw's daughter I'm sorry. Tell her. His voice broke. Tell her I wish I'd been braver. The car drove away. Martinez handed Daniel a bottle of water. Webb's confession gives us everything we need for the other two suspects. This case is closed. What happens to his family? Witness protection. Probably. The cartels don't forget either. She looked at Rex. Your dog just ended a 2-year investigation and probably saved 4 lives tonight. If that doesn't prove he's rehabilitated, nothing will. Daniel knelt and held Rex's face in both hands. You're full of surprises, aren't you? Rex licked his nose. They drove home in exhausted silence. Daniel's hands didn't stop shaking until they pulled into Michael's parking lot. Inside, Michael made coffee neither of them would drink, and they sat on the couch with Rex between them, processing what had happened. You could have died, Michael said finally. But I didn't, because of luck, because of Rex. Daniel scratched behind the dog's ears. He knew Webb wasn't going to shoot. I could feel it. Dogs can read body language better than any human. If Rex had felt real danger, he would have reacted differently. You trusted him that much. I did. Michael shook his head. You've changed, Dad. 2 weeks ago. You couldn't even look at a dog without falling apart. Now you're walking into hostage situations with one. Rex changed me. Or maybe I changed myself and he just gave me a reason. Daniel looked at his son. I spent 8 years punishing myself for Max's death. Convinced myself I didn't deserve to be around dogs, didn't deserve to be happy. Rex showed me that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about forgiving yourself enough to try again. Do you forgive yourself? Daniel thought about Mac. about the 30 seconds he'd hesitated, about the weight he'd carried for 8 years. "I'm getting there," he said quietly, "one day at a time." Michael's phone buzzed. He checked it and smiled. "It's Emma Shaw. She saw the news. Says her niece wants to visit this weekend. Is that okay?" Daniel looked at Rex. "What do you think? Buddy ready to meet Shaw's daughter." Rex's tail thumped against the couch. "Tell her yes," Michael typed back. "She says David's daughter, Emma, the 16-year-old, wants to thank you personally for Rex, for everything. We didn't do it for thanks." "I know, but sometimes people need to say it anyway." Daniel's phone rang. Catherine. He answered on speaker. "I just watched you on the news talking down an armed suspect with Rex at your side," Catherine said without preamble. "Please tell me you're insane and that wasn't actually you. It was us." "Daniel Carter, you're going to give me a heart attack." But her voice was warm. "Thomas would be proud. Terrified, but proud. Thanks." "Catherine, I called because I have a proposition. 3 veterans groups contacted me today. They want to hire you to run therapy programs, pairing retired military dogs with vets who need them. The funding is solid. The demand is huge." Daniel's heart skipped. "I don't have any credentials. You have something better experience. You know what it's like to be broken. You know how to sit with someone in their pain without trying to fix them. That's what these vets need." Catherine paused. "You could work here at Blue Ridge. We'd convert the quarantine section into a rehabilitation center. You and Rex would be the first team. What do you say?" Daniel looked around Michael's apartment, at his son, at the dog who'd saved his life in more ways than one. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. But Daniel, you're good at this, helping people, helping dogs. Don't let fear stop you from doing what you're meant to do." After Catherine hung up, Michael said, "You should do it? I live in a trailer, so get an apartment or move in here. I've got a spare room now that you're not suicidal anymore." Daniel laughed despite himself. "Is that your way of asking me to stay?" "It's my way of saying I want my dad back. The real one, the one who just walked into danger to save lives." Michael's voice cracked. "I missed him." Daniel pulled his son into a hug. "I missed him too." Rex barked once, demanding attention. Both men laughed and made room for the dog between them. Outside, Asheville slept. In 3 broken things sat together and felt, for the first time in years, like they might actually be whole. Daniel's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Emma Shaw. David's daughter. I heard what you did tonight. Thank you for protecting Rex. Thank you for protecting everyone. My dad always said good people are worth fighting for." He was right. Daniel saved the number and replied, "Your dad was a hero. So is Rex. See you this weekend." 3 dots. "Then I can't wait." Daniel set his phone down and looked at the 2 beings who'd become his family. "What do you say?" he asked. "Should we do this? Build something that helps people like us?" Michael nodded immediately. "Absolutely." Rex put his head on Daniel's knee and sighed contentedly. "Then that's what we'll do," Daniel said. "Second chances for everyone who needs one." He thought about the gun he'd almost used, the pills he'd almost taken, the future he'd almost thrown away. And he was grateful, so desperately grateful, that he'd answered Catherine's call that rainy November night. that he'd driven 2 hours to meet a broken dog in a cage, that he'd chosen to stay when everything told him to run, because broken things, Daniel had learned, weren't beyond saving. They were just waiting for someone brave enough to try. Sometimes the hardest battles aren't the ones we fight for ourselves, but the ones we fight for those who can't fight anymore. Daniel and Rex's story reminds us that loyalty transcends words, that healing doesn't require perfection, and that second chances are worth every ounce of courage they demand. In our lives, we've all faced moments when giving up seemed easier than holding on, when the weight of past mistakes threatened to crush our future. But here's the truth that Daniel discovered in that cold November cage: broken doesn't mean worthless, and pain doesn't disqualify us from purpose. Every one of us carries scars, some visible, some hidden deep in our hearts. The question isn't whether we've been wounded, but whether we're brave enough to believe we can still matter, still contribute, still love and be loved despite everything we've lost. Rex stayed loyal to Shaw's memory for 14 hours in the darkness. Daniel stayed loyal to Rex when the whole world said, "Quit." What are you staying loyal to? Who in your life needs someone to believe in them the way Daniel believed in Rex? Share your story in the comments below. Have you ever had a second chance that changed everything? Or maybe you've been the second chance for someone else. Tell us what loyalty and redemption mean to you.